welcome back to Cityline. With me, I have someone who's truly my friend and my neighbor. I know more about this person than I would ever say, but I do want to tell you, he has a heart of gold for the city of Tacoma. We are talking about the one, the only, Norman Brickhouse. He is the director of Mission Services for Valeo Vocation. Norman, welcome back.
Hi, Amanda. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing great, and it is great to have you on, my dear. So I have thought about Valeo so much as we have now entered into our third year of this pandemic. And I thought, I wonder how many people know about Valeo, because it's blooming during a time of disconnect. So tell us the mission so we really get the essence of why you are here.
Valeo Vocation, we're a nonprofit staffing agency with the whole purpose of working with the homeless community, people experiencing poverty, or people displaced by COVID. Our whole mission is to provide immediate employment to people experiencing housing instability, to provide the resources necessary for them to attain housing, transportation, financial coaching, to deal any barrier they need to be successful in attaining full-time employment. It's a beautiful agency, and we're a social enterprise. There's probably only 70 nonprofit staffing agencies in the country. So our model works, but it's far and few between. So a lot of people don't know about us.
I love that. Well, I have to tell you, I am a huge fan of Valeo and all the social media posting that they do. And I do sleep better at night knowing that Valeo is looking at the unhoused and saying every single day, how do we put them first? You do it beautifully in a TEP program, which the TEP stands for Transitional Employment Pathways. Norman, what is that?
Well, gosh, our TEP program is what Valeo was founded on. Sherry Jensen, the CEO and founder of it, she had this concept. Let's go ahead and put employment and then case management and then supportive service together. So TEP, Transitional Employment Pathways, it's a 3-phase program. The first phase is just to get them working immediately, get some money in their pocket, and then start dealing with their barriers. As you can imagine, everyone is unique and different. A lot of people may be mental health, addiction services, and sometimes it's not even that extensive. Maybe they just need an opportunity to get better. A lot of times we're helping with I-9 verification. A lot of times people take it for granted that you have your Social Security card, that you have your identification. In most cases, it's either lost or stolen. And I'm not sure if you know this, but the Social Security Administration has been closed since March of 2020. So getting a Social Security card is a nightmare. We've been going with birth certificates, with his acceptable documentation. We get those a little faster. We get people working, and it's about 90 days in each phase. Phase 2 is skill development. Let's put them in a nonprofit or a governmental agency. We pay 20 hours per week for them to gain skills necessary to move to full-time employment. Full-time employment is when we get them housed. And it's kind of in between that second phase. We want to match them up with our BFET program so that way they can work with Brenda. She wants to identify what necessary skills you're developing, help them with resumes, and help them to identify that career pathway. Sometimes it may be additional training. Other times they may just need the opportunity. So 3-phase program, it's been really successful. Big props to the city of Tacoma. Last time I was on your show, we were talking about the pilot program. TEP has been around since Valeo's been around, so for about 3.5 years, but then we expanded it in April of 2021. And that was, you can work with anybody. Initially, it was just people in the stability site and emergency shelters. This year, we've launched it. We combined both programs. We have the opportunity to work with anybody that's experiencing housing instability, and we're so excited about it. So thank you so much, City of Tacoma.
Well, props to City of Tacoma, because they don't turn their head for just every nonprofit. So obviously Valeo was checking all the boxes, and City of Tacoma said, they're doing good work, let's help them. So what are some of the new programs at Valeo Vocation, and who is eligible to participate in them?
Okay, so if you have housing instability, and we do define that as sleeping in your car, couch surfing, you could be in a shelter. If you do not have housing, you're eligible for the program. The whole goal is people that want to attain employment within 6 months to 1 year. But we also have a BFET program where we provide employment services. We recently launched, and I'm so proud of it, the program that we have, the TEP program. City of Fife said that they wanted to emulate that. So we established a partnership. It launched in, I want to say, October of 2021. Timothy Anderson is the contact person there. He's doing an incredible job. We sent over Benjamin McLean, who was the case manager for our TEP program, to be the case manager. So big props to the City of Fife. What we aren't realizing in Tacoma is we're so interconnected. Lakewood, Puyallup, Spanaway, the City of Fife, all of us sometimes are accusing each other of shuffling people from one district to another. And when the truth of the matter is, it is a county problem. And the great news is Pierce County is ahead of the game. They've already developed a program with City of Tacoma taking leadership, because I hate to tell you, if you're talking about shelters, downtown is the place in the City of Tacoma. That's where all of our shelters are. Tacoma Rescue Mission, which they do an incredible job. They're one of our biggest partners. And then you have the great job that Nativity House does. We've really got into the shelter program, providing staffing. We're working with Shiloh, Bethlehem. We've opened up the warming center at Liberty House, and so many other places. And then what we realize is there's such an employment crush. I mean, everyone hears about the Great Resignation. Well, what you don't realize is when you're trying to develop shelter capacity, oh my gosh, you're losing people in the shelter program, and then you're developing capacity. So now we're partnering with the City of Tacoma to do a whole training program for shelter aides. So that way we could backfill, open up additional shelters. And we have people that come in that know trauma-informed care, ACEs training, de-escalation training, all these necessary skill sets to do the best job that they can, because it is a difficult job. We thank our doctors and our nurses, the policemen and the firemen. But the truth of the matter is, you know who never took one day off? People working in shelters, people providing essential services to the most vulnerable population. So kudos to everybody that does homeless services. And every day they go out there during this pandemic and they risk their lives just to make sure Tacoma and Pierce County has opportunities for people that sometimes are less fortunate and are very rarely thought of.
Boy, that is right from the heart. And as you mentioned, being a direct service provider, people don't take breaks, they keep going. So I know that this incredible team at Valeo has had to shift with COVID. So how has that changed the way you deliver services? I mean, because we're getting now into Omicron and none of us ever thought we would be here.
Gosh, that's a great question. Let's just start back when it started, because you're talking, what was it, March of 2020 is when everyone closed down. First thing we did, we partnered with the health department. We partnered with the YMCA. We set up a shower share program for people to stay clean. We set up quarantine sites, sometimes COVID positive sites, with great training and protocols in place. Funny part is we have one of the highest safety records that I'm so proud of, because when you realize that you're in shelters or you're dealing with COVID positive clients, you have to have protocols in place to make sure that your staff is safe, make sure they have the proper training. Now we're shifting into shelters because as it gets colder, that's certainly a concern. We want to provide warming centers. And as we're doing that, the great thing is we're partnering with everyone. We're trying our best to bring services in so that way the word of Valeo is spread, because opportunities are out there. And again, we've had the opportunity to partner with so many great people. Comprehensive Life Services is right across the street. I mean, they do a great job with mental health. They've been such a great partner. You're talking about Tacoma Rescue Mission, working with all their case managers. All of them have coordinated entry, and we're talking about diversion funds, which is an opportunity for them to get $500 to $600 with Valeo funding behind them. We've helped so many people get into shared housing and then move to apartments and full-time employment. We've been really successful in the retention factor because a lot of times you can get people in the housing, but it's the employment aspect along with the financial education and the financial coaching that provides these necessary barriers to long-term retention, because you don't want to get someone in and then 90 days later they're homeless. No, you want to teach that self-sustainability. And again, partnering with Goodwill to bring those life skill classes. Big props to Kelly. You know, she's my wife, so I have to say Goodwill always whenever I'm being interviewed. Making sure that they gain the necessary skill sets to grow. I mean, we've had so many great opportunities. We partnered with Workforce Central. We're now providing staffing to food banks. Department of Commerce got a grant. Workforce Central received the grant. It's the CDBG, and hold with me, that acronym is Community Developmental Block Grant. So we receive funds. As you can imagine, the food banks have lost a lot of their volunteers during COVID. I mean, it's been devastating to them. And so the National Guard stepped in for a while, and then in July they left because they had to go fight forest fires. So we're backfilling with staffing people, working with all of the great food banks in the area. I'm talking about the big ones: Nourish, Emergency Food Network, Louisa's Cooking Pot, St. Leo's, which is just right up the street and one of our strongest partners. Love you, St. Leo's. Keep doing a great job. Bonnie Lake Food Bank, the Key Peninsula Food Bank, and all of these great agencies, we're providing staffing services. So during COVID, what we've identified is what is the need in the community and how can we adapt? Being such a small agency and so young, we're really nimble and we're able to pivot quite fast to address the needs of the community. And again, big props to the city of Tacoma to identifying what the needs are, helping to fix the problems, develop training programs, and then getting it done. I mean, it's a pleasure to work with them. And now we're partnering with the city of Fife, which has also been a pleasure. We're working with Workforce Central, which is a powerhouse in Washington State.
It is.
So we're so honored with all of our community partners. It's a dream.
Norman, I'm hoping that Valeo keeps going all the way down to Mount Rainier, Olympia, just kind of keeps working their way down with the cities of that you can partner with. Norman, thank you so much for being here today, for all of your passion and your dedication. I know you to be a man of your word. You care deeply about housing here in Tacoma, how it's developed, how it's bought, how it's rented, how it's built. You are an encyclopedia when it comes to housing. And so I thank you so much for all the love and dedication that flows through you. And I want to have you back on sooner than later, okay?
I would love that. Thank you so much, Amanda.
You're welcome, my dear. We have much more to come on Cityline. Don't go away. We'll be right back.